Today, you're going to get a sneak peek on what an oil and gas investor is doing to diversify herself in today's climate. Join us for our conversation with Courtney Muller.
Investing Secrets with Kevin Attride.
And I will wait for the next total crash, and then I will go back in, pick up some more. And
I'm really excited for the guests that we have ahead of us today. Courtney has been a friend in this last recent months, and just really excited to introduce you to her. Courtney Muller is the co-founder of Empire Investment Group, and I'm just really excited for her to bring her experience and her investing journey to you. So Courtney, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, Kevin, I'm so honored to be here. So thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this ever since you invited me to come and join you.
Well, it's just an amazing story that you have to tell. So I'm interested to have you tell our audience more. Give us just a brief glimpse into your background, your experience, and your firm.
Well, thanks for asking that. So, gosh, I always tell everybody that I don't know what I want to be when I grow up because I feel like I've worn so many hats through my life. But, when I was younger, I went into the Navy for about 5 years. I was an aviation electronics technician. I feel like every little piece of my life and all of my different journeys kind of played some type of role in ending up, landing me where I am now. So, I went through the Navy, came out, I sold real estate for years, became a nurse. And then from there, I lost my dad. My dad was a petroleum engineer. He was, drilled oil all over the world, which was amazing. So the majority of my family was involved in oil and gas in some fashion or another. So I inherited that company, and actually wanting to be diversified out of oil and gas into other assets has kind of led me to the path I am now. So, some of the hardships that I went through really made me decide, okay, I don't like being tied to oil and gas. If the price of oil is $100 a barrel, that's great. But if it's sub-zero, that's not so great. So all of my experiences and jobs and everything else that I've done led me to decide, okay, I don't want to be at the mercy of the price of a barrel of oil. I don't want to be at the mercy of the price of this. So several years ago, it led me into really wanting to diversify and to be involved in other assets. And then that has I've learned so much. I've gotten around so many incredible people, and it's really kind of brought me to where I am today and led me right into all of the things that I'm involved with, which I feel like is everything.
Well, and you have such a diverse background. I'm interested. Tell us a little bit about Empire Investment Group.
A little over a year ago, I guess it was about 14, 15 months ago, a good friend of mine asked me to come and speak at their investment summit about crypto. And so I was totally honored and humbled and blown away that they wanted me to come and do this. And at that investment summit, I met two other amazing women, Dury and Michelle. They are my business partners in one of the endeavors that I have going on. And we wanted to be able to put syndications together, put investment deals together, and offer those to investors, offer a non-traditional way to invest your money that, offers better returns, mailbox money, which who doesn't love just having, money come in, easily and with really great tax advantages. We are not given a financial education going through life. So when I learned that, wow, I can take that same amount of money I was going to put in the stock market and I can put it over here in real estate or oil and gas or whatever that investment is. And not only am I getting these amazing tax benefits, I'm paying less taxes, I'm now getting these just checks from this investment that come in. And I thought, this is amazing. Like, why didn't they teach me about this in school? So now, we're putting together deals and offering those to people as a better way of investing and creating wealth and not just wealth, but generational wealth. So that's my goal now, is to provide these alternative investment options and help change people's lives.
The wealthiest Americans utilize private banking. I recommend the experts at Living Wealth when you're ready to implement this strategy. I'm interested, for our audience, will you tell us the practical tips, the secrets that you've learned over the years and that you're helping others through your investment vehicles?
Absolutely. I think probably, going through life, I had so many ideas about things that I wanted to do, big things that I wanted to do, but I never really knew how to do it. And actually, when I was a realtor, I sold real estate, and I got I really enjoyed it. I was really good at it, but I didn't scale it correctly. So when I got so big, it took a lot of time away from my family, and really everything that I do to be with my family, to spend more time with the people that matter, doing the things that really matter. And so I kind of ended up falling away from that. So I think probably the biggest, most important thing is just surrounding yourself with the right people, getting in the right rooms. Probably the biggest impact that I have had is starting to go to these investment conferences. When you go to these conferences, that is where the magic happens. I mean, you get there, you meet people. I have learned about investment vehicles that I had never heard of. I have come up with partners like Jerry and Michelle, Robin. Everybody that I'm doing everything with came from these investment conferences. It really has absolutely changed my life. I've joined other groups that are mentoring me. So, we get these ideas and we're like, okay, this would be so great. And then you've got people that you can sit there and shoot ideas off of. And that's really what has been such a huge catalyst, getting in there and going, okay, learning about all these different asset classes, all the different options, all of the different things you can get involved in, all of these people that I've met, the different things they're involved with. And so if it's not something I'm going to syndicate, I can get into that. So, which is another thing, learning how to use other people's money to grow my wealth, and help other people grow their wealth and mine all at the same time. So it's a win-win all the way around. So getting in the room, attending conferences, networking, making friends, building these relationships is really where all the gold is.
And it's really helpful knowing that a number of people are not where you are now. They can go to conferences, but what are some foundational things that people need to think about from a tips or secrets perspective?
It really, I guess about 14 months ago, I went to this investment conference and I came out and I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm going to syndicate. And I asked somebody to partner with me to do a raise. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. And then I thought, wait a minute, I don't have an investor list. Like, how do you even start a syndication? Like, what does that even look like? So I had to really kind of dig in and figure it out. I'm so good at jumping right into the fire of things. I decide to do something and I just go, like, we'll figure it out along the way. I am definitely an action taker. So
Courtney, if you'll just pause, for people who don't know what a syndication is, do you mind just describing that for a moment?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that not too long ago, I didn't know what a syndication was. I was very much going to do things myself. I was making my own investments, trading in and out of stocks and doing things like that. And I was really good at it, but there's actually even better ways even over that. So syndicating is, you can syndicate anything. Really, you're just raising the money. You're bringing money together from different people to go in and either purchase an asset, or it really can just be anything. It can be an airplane. It can be an apartment building. Pretty much just about anything you can think of. I had a conversation with my son 2 days ago about potentially syndicating a drift track for JDM cars. So whoever in the world thought that I would be talking about that, and with one of my kids. So essentially you find deals, you find something like, oh, this would be a really great way to cash flow. And then you go out and you raise that money from other people so that you could make that deal happen. And you have to kind of figure out, okay, what do those returns look like? What does that look like? And this is where having the right team around you and networking and being at these events and building relationships really comes in handy, because you need a good attorney, you need a good accountant, you need all of these people that can help you put those things together. And that's really what I got out of that investment summit. I joined a group that is now mentoring me on how to successfully syndicate, how to grow that, how to put these deals together. And, if we get stuck somewhere or we're having an issue, we can sit there and brainstorm and get those things figured out so that we are making sure we're putting together the best deals we can possibly do for our investors.
When the dollar isn't buying what it used to, I recommend McAlvany ICA for your gold and silver IRA or private collection to hold value for decades. Before someone kind of gets to that syndication or exploring that, the whole aspect of networking and team are so vital. What are just practical tips people need to do? You have Joe Blow, he has some money, he throws it all in the stock market. How does he transition to the realm of stock market investor just with his employer to spending money with a syndication because he happens to be accredited, or he's not accredited. He can't even apply for syndication. So, guide from that principle. What practical things does someone need to think about there?
When I went to the Real Estate Guys Investor Summit on Sand last year, prior to that, I, had spent so much time, researching, I was trying to invest in great, stocks and companies and things like that. I actually got really heavily involved in crypto several years ago. So I was doing all of this, and then I was asked to come and speak at that investor summit. So I did that. And when I got there, and it's probably been one of my most favorite conferences, it has absolutely changed my life. I learned about all of these different asset classes. So, before you even decide to do anything, you've got to learn about all of the different asset classes there are out there, all of the different things that you can get involved with, and really think about, what is your secret sauce? What are you good at? Are you good at math? Are you good at accounting? Do you have a great network? You've got to kind of sit down and go, okay, I really like apartments, or, I've really been interested in storage, or maybe you are looking at mobile home parks, precious metals, oil and gas. There's so many different things to get involved with. So when I left the investor conference, I wanted to do everything. Like, I had shiny object syndrome, and I was so excited. And I thought, yes, I want to hold private notes, and I'm going to syndicate apartments and storage, and I'm going to do everything. But, I had to kind of take a step back and say, okay, I haven't ever really specialized in apartments. I haven't really done this, this is what I'm good at over here. How can I syndicate this and bring in deals to something that I really specialize in and that I'm really good at? So it was really kind of figuring out, all of the different options out there, all of the different ways you can get involved, and what would a business, a cash flowing, successful business look like, and how can I bring that to other people? So that's kind of where I, started thinking about that. And then I had to really kind of reel it in and dial it in from there, which is where Empire kind of started. We got involved in a carbon capture deal, which was so perfect for me because it's oil and gas related. And, being a girl grown up in West Texas, riding pump jacks, on a Friday night with friends, it just seemed like a really great natural place to go. So that's kind of where that started. I'm heavily involved in the crypto and blockchain space, and so I syndicate in that field as well. So it's exciting. It's all really, really exciting.
Courtney, all that's really helpful. Now, when you come to when you're saying we should investigate asset classes, what does that look like? I mean, you mentioned a whole host of real estate, often commercial real estate. At least that's what I heard you focus on. Oil and gas, crypto. I mean, those are big categories. Now, how does someone investigate them? What aspects should someone do from a due diligence or just looking into?
So when I first started, first of all, I didn't even realize that you could invest in like an apartment complex, not too long ago. I had no idea. So when I found out, there were people that are putting these apartment deals together, I was like, okay. And even that was a learning experience. Different assets offer different tax advantages. Some things offer tax advantages against passive income. Some investments offer benefits to ordinary income or capital gains. So it's really kind of figuring out, okay, how does that help me here? Cost segregation on apartments. I had no idea when they're breaking all of these different tax advantages down into cost segregation. I had no idea that I needed to make sure that I'm investing in a group that is using cost segregation. So there is a lot, in underwriting apartment deals, and I've actually never underwritten an apartment deal. So that was something I wanted to get involved with. But this is where you really need to find people that are involved in these different asset classes and talk to them and ask them, okay, what does it look like to syndicate a storage unit deal? What does it look like to syndicate an apartment deal? And really kind of find out, what are those nuts and bolts? What is the information you need? And is that something that you can get involved with? And do you even want to? Don't go and just do it just because it's there. I really, really believe that we're called to do certain things, and you feel that in your heart and you know it's the right way. So it took me just a little bit to kind of figure out what I was going to specialize in and what my secret sauce was going to be, because I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. And then once I did, it's been so amazing. And I've just grown exponentially.
If you don't know where to start investing in real estate, I recommend Norada Real Estate Investments. Their counselors are impactful. Are there other financial tips that you want to discuss with our audience?
Here is something I would love for people to know. I think it's really important to be diversified into different assets. When kind of like what I was talking about in oil and gas earlier, when the price of oil is $80 to $100, that's great. But when it's not, when it's at $30 or $20 or sub-zero for a brief amount of time, that's really can be stressful if you're depending on that for your income. So I think one of the most important things for me is being diversified. Assets are cyclical. Real estate is cyclical. Oil and gas is cyclical. Precious metals are cyclical. They have their highs and lows. They kind of all follow like a stock market. They go up and down, but ultimately they trend up. And so I think it's really important. The stock market is not an asset class that I recommend. I'm not a fan of 401ks. I think that I won't go down that path, but I just think that like people that are in the stock market right now, and that's where they had all of their retirement money, this is a really stressful situation. This is really tough. And, if you are ready to retire right now and you've just lost a very significant amount of your retirement money in the stock market, that is really stressful. But for those people that have money invested into real estate, into oil and gas, into precious metals, into all of these different asset classes, one of those assets might be in a downturn right now, but the others might be in an upturn. So like right now, I do hold crypto. I actually sold out of all of my stocks about 9 months ago. I only play the stock market on a cyclical, it's not anything I do long term. So I bought in March of 2020 and I got completely out in about 9 months ago. So, and I will wait for the next total crash and then I will go back in, pick up some more. And I don't think we're finished going down yet. So there's so much going on economically. So I have really, and that's what I would tell people is, take a look at what the markets are doing. Don't ever go in and buy anything when it's at an all-time high. When everybody is so excited and everybody's doing it, that is the time when you should be selling. One of my very favorite sayings is be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, and buy when there's blood in the streets. And that's kind of what we're seeing in a lot of these markets, especially the crypto markets. Right now is such an amazing time to get involved in that. People are really scared. A lot of people have been shaken out of their positions. So right now is a really great time to build that position. Real estate, I'm in the Texas area. Real estate has spiked. And now that we're seeing interest rates going up, inflation has gone through the roof. People, credit card usage is at an all-time high. We're starting to see properties come available. Cars are coming available. So right now is a really great time to kind of be sitting on some cash so that you can capitalize on some of these, real estate opportunities and some other things that I think we're going to see over the course of the next year or two. So, so I would, my recommendation is always kind of take a look. Real estate, I think at the end of the day, for the most part, it's always a good time to get in. I think it's very important to make sure that, if you're getting involved in investing with other people, make sure that, those people know what they're doing as well. But I research it, take a look at things, get involved and take action.
And tell us, you're also involved in Ladies Kicking Assets. You want to tell us about that as well?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so Robin Binkley is my partner in Ladies Kicking Assets. And here, I guess back at the beginning of this year, we were at a meeting that we are both in, a mastermind group that we're in. And, we were really trying to figure out how we could get some local community members involved, start sharing some of the financial education that we have learned along the way. And that kind of morphed into, well, we could do a local meetup, we could do this. And it really just kind of morphed into the podcast that we have. And it's called Ladies Kicking Assets. And our goal was to empower people with financial education, give them the information they need so they could have the courage to go out and make these financial decisions, take action and change their lives. If I can impact just one person, I am happy with what I'm doing. So I will keep doing that. We are on a mission. We are still kind of figuring it out as we go, but I know we're headed in the right direction, and I'm really excited about what we're doing.
Well, Courtney, on that, I'm interested. How does our audience get a hold of you?
I have a website. It's CourtneyMoeller.com. My email is Courtney@CourtneyMoeller.com. So, reach out to me on my website, shoot me an email. I would be thrilled to have a conversation with anybody about any of these different assets.
And there are more investing secrets that are quite powerful for you to build and maximize your wealth. As a matter of fact, I've created a free guide to help you to be more effective in your investing journey. It's called The Top Investing Hacks the Exclusive Rich Are Not Telling Us. And I want you to take action right now by clicking the link in the description below. I want you to have this exclusive access so that you can understand the strategies and the tactics the rich use to maximize and grow their wealth. All right, it's time for you to experience financial freedom.
The information contained in this episode are opinions not to be used as individual guidance. As always, consult your own financial team for your investment decisions.